In this video, I'm going to show you how to change the drive belt on this Troy-Bilt TB200 push lawnmower. This one's been slipping a little bit, so we're going to replace it with a new one. I'm also going to show you how to check the wheels to make sure they're good, and the transmission as well, in case your problem turns out to not be your drive belt. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive right in. So in order to get to the belt, we have to get this cover off right here that covers up the transmission and the belt and the pulleys and all that good stuff. There's 9 bolts, and they're pretty easy to get to. We'll start with these 2 on top. There's one right here, and there's one over here on top. Okay, so after we get the 2 bolts out that are on top, you'll want to go ahead and put your height lever in the all the way up position. What this will do is it'll help hold the axle and the wheels in place once we get this cover off, because all these things are going to go away right here. Next, you'll want to have somebody either hold the handle all the way down or push the handle down and put a weight on top of it so that the mower will stay, because you're going to need to get underneath to get to the other 7 bolts. I have a hook on my bench that I tie stuff to, so I can hold mine in place very easily. Okay, so under here we've got our other 7 bolts. We've got 1, 2, 3, 1 in the middle, 4, 5, and then 2 down here, 6, 7. So let's pull those out. They're 3/8 head, by the way. And that's all 7. We can lower the mower back down. All right, once we get the bolts out, just go ahead and take this right off of here. No problem. And set that aside. Okay, got the cover out of the way. Now your mower will probably be clogged up with grass and all sorts of stuff like that. Here's a before picture of this one. This is a good opportunity to clean all this out. Also make sure this engaging lever right here isn't clogged up, with a bunch of grass behind it where it's preventing that cable from pulling that all the way in, because that'll cause a problem too. So to get this belt off, it's real easy. Just get this belt guard out of the way. It kind of fits around right here, so just pull it out of there. And that's it. Just lift it up out of its pegs, like so, and that's it. Okay, so to finish getting this belt off, we have to take off this plastic cover. Now the blade makes that a little bit difficult, so we got to take the blade off. And if you don't have an impact, which I think is the best way to take that off, introducing the fancy tool of the day, the block of wood. All you got to do is wedge it in there, like so. Just like that. And there you go. One fancy tool. Very easy to make. We use our breaker bar here. All right, so while you got your blade off, if it's in decent shape, it's a good time to sharpen it. I'm not going to show that in this video today. Or if your blade is in really bad shape, you might as well replace it while you got it off of there. They're not that expensive, about 20 bucks, maybe a little more, somewhere in that neighborhood. We'll just take the 2 3/8 head bolts off that hold your plastic cover on. Comes right out. Now, just pull your belt. It's already disconnected on the other side, and that's it. If you're finding any value in this video, please click that like button below and subscribe to this channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. Okay, so back to the video. Okay, so got our new belt here. Now the one I'm using is a Sten's 265-552, but the OEM number is 954-04259. So just slip that in there just like the old one came out, making sure it's around the pulley before you put your cover back on. Now when you're slipping that on, it kind of helps if you grab the belt from the top and kind of pull it. That way it's tight around the pulley, and it'll fit nicely between the belt guards that are inside this cover right here. Now make sure when you put the blade back on that the curvature part is facing down. Sometimes if you look on here, it'll say grass side or down or something like that. But the way that you can always tell is they usually will have like a cup to them like this, and that cup will be facing down. Also make sure on this little collar right here that these little points are in the holes of the blade. And this block of wood works in reverse as well. So according to the manual, the torque specs on this is between 450 and 600 inch-pounds. 600 inch-pounds converts to about 50 foot-pounds, so I'm going to go with 48 foot-pounds to be on the upper end of the spec. All right, so just quickly wrap the belt around here. That's all you got to do with that, and put the belt guard back. Make sure it snaps in real good. So I wanted to show how a couple of things work before I put this thing back together so you can see. Well, for one thing, if your wheels don't work real smooth, you know, kind of janky when you pull them backwards, or it's hard to pull backwards, something like that, take a look at your gear right here. Make sure it's working right. I've got a couple of videos on this. And also right here, if this has gotten all goopy, you can just take some brake clean and steel wool and kind of clean this up, and then put a light coating of grease on that before you put it back, and that'll make that wheel rotate a lot better. Just a thin coat is all it needs. And you can clean the inside of this out too if it's giving you a problem. Now if you notice on the inside of these wheels, there's a plastic gear there, and that meshes with this gear right here. Now if some of these teeth are worn down, you may notice some problems with the self-propelled, and I'll show you how to check for that here in just 1 second. Let's put this wheel back. Okay, so to kind of check your wheels and transmission, just block up one wheel and squeeze this engage lever right here. Now notice the wheel turns okay one direction, and the other direction, the pulley is spinning, okay? Now if that wheel was bad, if it had broken teeth like I showed you a minute ago, the wheel would kind of skip like this when it gets to that broken tooth. Same thing on the other one. Engage this. Wheel turns free this way, right? And it's turning the transmission. Same thing with this wheel. If it had a broken tooth, you'd see it. Or if the whole transmission was bad, you'd spin your wheels, you'd see the axle spinning right here, but nothing would be happening up here. So that's how you know. So I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on this thing, put the bolts back in it, and we're going to take it for a spin. Runs like a champ. Thanks for watching.